Today, we're going to be talking about the 80-20 rule, meaning that 80% of your assets are fully in the market. So, 80% is bullish. That means that during bull times, which are the majority of the times, well, not majority of the time overall, every single day, but throughout the years, months, and even decades, is bullish. Over time, the bulls win. The bears, so to, in a sense, get slaughtered. But occasionally, we are bearish. Meaning that there is going to be times when there is downturns, when things don't go your way, when the markets go down. But how are you going to be prepared when these things go down? When there is a mispricing, so to speak, when there is opportunity, instead of worrying about all this pain, the red in the market, you're opportunistic. During these times, you will have this money, and instead of being fearful, you will be greedy. You'll be excited. In fact, you will know that you are going to increase your assets long term because you've been prepared and you are ready to buy when everyone else is crying. You're prepared. That is why you must always keep a portion of your assets in cash or cash equivalents. What does that mean? Easily liquid assets that you can access in a bearish market. But timing the market is impossible. So do have a plan. Week 1. How much? If markets go down more than 4% from the all-time high, 1 week, 0.5%. Take 0.5% of your cash and invest it into bullish assets. The next week, things go down another 4 or 5%. Keep going. Now you ask, how do I know when to stop putting in the cash? Well, simple. Only put in the additional 0.5% when things go down. For the downturn, put in that 0.5%. But when things flatten out and stagnate, stop. So it may go on for months, years even, that things go down, but it may have only happened in a couple major market moves. And in those weeks, when things go down more than 4%, put in 0.5%. This way, you will catch major market moves downward. You will be adding to the dip. You will be ready. And in those times, you will get a slight advantage. You will get, as we talked about before, a margin of safety. And what does that mean? That means that you will buy assets below their all-time highs. You will be greedy when others are fearful. You will be ready. And you will have assets undervalued. And in the long term, you will grow your assets through this method. Through the 80-20 rule, through creating a margin of safety. That's why. Have a portfolio built to take advantage of these temporary downturns. Bullish? Bearish? Be ready. And in these times, you will gain. And you will be ahead. These are the times, like I mentioned earlier, when you have an advantage. When everyone else is fearful, you will have a chance to be greedy. Now, I know you know, and I know that that's not always easy. But with this rule, it is. When the market goes down 4% in a week, 0.5% of your cash, of your overall wealth, 0.5%. So you'll have your 19.5% or whatever readjusted for the downturn in cash after that 0.5%. And remember, this is only for the big move, the negative negative 4%. That is when you add. In that moment, you gain an advantage. You gain an edge. But remember, not in the weeks, not in the in-between, when you are waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, months, years, etc. Because you're protecting your existing capital and you're also betting on further downturn at the same time as being averaged in to the market. Another 4%, 5%, plus another 5. Now, how do you know? How do you know that this will make you money? Because over time, bears get slaughtered. Major market downturns happen. But over time, the market always goes up. Whether it be over years or decades, there may be bad years. There may even be bad decades. But over time, the market goes up. So remember, be opportunistic. And that is why you need to have 1/5, 20% bearish in cash or cash equivalents. That is the 80-20 rule. And that concludes the 80-20 rule.